All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is January 16th. It's actually January 15th right now at the time of recording. We'll get into that in just a second. But we got a 5-game NBA slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, that'll be down in the pinned comment. But like I said, it's actually January 15th at the time of recording. When you guys are watching this in the morning, I will most likely be wheels up on a plane away for the weekend. So figured we'd get this one out when we could, which is the night prior to. So let's go ahead and dive into this slate. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3, 4 more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. Like I said, 5-game slate here. There's a few good games, especially that OKC Cleveland game, which I'm excited to talk about in terms of a recap from what would be last night at the time you guys watching this. We don't have that as of right now because we're recording during some of those games. I will say it doesn't look like a great night, but it doesn't look like a bad night either. Peyton Pritchard, obviously a good look there. He was a first half cash for us. Sweating out the Grizzlies team total under. Levine looks like it might be a loser. Rockets Nuggets looks like that has some potential. But again, the only thing we know for sure right now is Peyton Pritchard. So all that will be updated in the post from yesterday if you do want to see the wins and losses. And this game is still going on, but we'll give a little shout out here to the ride of the day. Again, the game is going on, and we pulled this one prior to all of the Hawks being ruled out. Justin rolled to the Hawks money line. Obviously not the best closing value there. I think they're like plus 200, but they look like they're going to win the game. They're up 12 with just over 2 minutes left to go in the game. So, yeah, I'm not trying to jinx or anything like that, but as of right now, it looks like the ride of the day may be coming through for Justin. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it's simple. Just use that hashtag ride of the day in the comments. Give me your favorite play. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day. Give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to ride with your plays. If you lose, you got to face the womp womp. So we'll see how this one turns out, but drop those hashtag ride of the days in the comments. But like I said, let's go ahead and jump into today's slate. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We may not have all of the lines for player props and whatnot because we're recording this, but we'll do our best here because we're recording this the night before, right? But we will do our best. So we're starting off with Detroit taking on Indiana. This is most likely going to be a good game. You have two teams that are playing some of their best basketball this year. Indiana here in their last 10 games, 7-3. Their losses have come to, in these 10 games, right? Boston, Milwaukee, and Cleveland. Like, they're losing to some good teams. They're 7-3 against the number as well. Detroit, 8-2 in their last 10 games. So two very, very good teams, like I mentioned, playing one another here. I do think this is a spot where Indiana may just have the lack thereof of defense to compete in this one. But they're playing such a good basketball. I really don't want to, pick against them. Now, Tyrese Halliburton looks like he could miss another game. If that changes, that's going to obviously change our play here. But for the time being, I don't mind the idea of the Pistons at home. Both, again, playing good ball. So, I mean, if you're on the Indiana side of things, I'm not talking you off of it, but no Halliburton. And like I mentioned, Detroit just seems a little bit more defensively sound, at least in the paint, which is where Indiana likes to score from, right? So to me, this is a Detroit play. If Detroit was maybe 4.5, 5-point favorites, I'd start looking at Indiana. So it's definitely a thin margin there. In terms of what we have from a total, right now it's sitting at 227, right? You have the Pacers who sure as hell can play fast when they need to. They don't always play fast. In the last 10 games here, middle of the pack, 15th in terms of pace. Their most recent games here, 117-127 against Cleveland. They played Cleveland the game prior, 108-93 win. They played Golden State, 108-96, 2 low-scoring games in a row. Then it's 129-113 against the Bulls, 113-99. So this is an up and down paced team, no pun intended there. I will say Detroit's defense has been looking good, so I'm going to lean over. I think that this Detroit team should be able to put up, a 115 plus number, which should get us closer to that over. So maybe a Detroit team total as well. In terms of a player prop, I am very much, I guess, fixated on that in the paint number. In terms of what we have from Indiana, they are allowing the 5th most points in the paint so far this season. At the rim, they're allowing a 70 field goal percentage against. In the paint outside of the restricted area, nearly a 50, so 49.7% field goal percentage against. So anyone that takes it into the rim or at the rim should do fairly well here. So I'm looking at Jalen Duren, maybe over in his points, right? Right now, his points line is sitting at, I believe, 9.5, which I don't mind that. Last time he did play them, he had 14 points. The time before that, which was also this season, he had 13. As of late, he's not exactly, crushing this line, but on the season, he's hit it in 16 of 30 games. Like I mentioned, as of late, if we want to look at just his last 15 games, it actually looks pretty good. He's hit it in 9 of 15, so Jalen Duren here could be a look to go out there and get double-digit points. Maybe we look at him for the double-double, but I have a feeling that line isn't going to be all that tremendous, right? I think his rebounds line is 9.5, his points line is 9.5, so actually, let's see if we can pull that up really quickly to see what we get for odds if that thing is released as of right now. Because now that I think about it, plus 175. That's a lot better than I was thinking. He's hit a double-double here in 5 straight games against the Pacers. Maybe a sprinkle in the double-double. That sounds kind of good to me. Phoenix taking on Washington. Obviously, this is a massive number. In terms of injuries, we do have a couple to note on the Phoenix side of things. Beal listed as doubtful. Nurkic listed as out. But they have their main starters here. The new starting lineup, Jones, Booker, Dunn, Durant, Plumlee, all looking like they're good to go. This is one of those numbers where it's like, we hate the idea, and I mean hate the idea of, having to win by 11 points as the Suns, right? Like, that seems like it's a ludicrous thing to even theorize or conceptualize. But then you flip it over and it's like, but it's the Wizards, and the Wizards, I don't think 10.5 points is enough from them, right? They're 1-9 in their last 10 games, 4-6 against the number. Cleveland's 4-6 straight up, 3-6-1 against, Cleveland. Phoenix, 4-6 straight up, 3-6-1 against the number. It's like, where do we go in this one? I think what I ultimately end up looking at is potentially I don't even know if I want to go here, but I was thinking like a Phoenix team total over, but the way they've been playing really doesn't scream go, get theirs in terms of how efficient they've been. But at the same time, last 4 games here, 123, 114, 120, 117. Maybe that's something of consideration, but you can even tell by me talking about it, right? I kind of sort of sit here and cringe at the thought of it, because if you guys don't know, we have had the Suns multiple times here, and they are that close to being on the do not bet list here in the DMB graveyard. Right now, it's just Paul George. He's all alone out there, but the Suns are damn close. So, yeah, it's a tough one to end up pulling the trigger on, but I do think that that's what I would ultimately look at. I think it's going to be like over 119.5, which just seems like it's too high, right? But I cannot lay 10.5 with the Suns. I also don't want to even think about the Wizards plus the 10.5 points. I know they're at home, but only thing I'd look at here would ultimately be that team total over, and even that's pretty damn high, right? When we look at this from a defensive perspective, you can score from anywhere against this Washington team. If you want to score in the paint, great. They're really bad at defending the paint. 27th this season, so 4th worst, right? They're allowing a 72.3% field goal percentage against in the restricted area. Outside, still in the paint, a 51% field goal percentage. So anyone that takes it into the paint on this Suns team should be able to have a decent game. The guys we're looking at there would be probably Durant, Booker, especially for those nice stop and pops and the sort of the extended in the paint. So that might be where we go with this one. But again, this is such a weird one, and I don't really trust the Suns as far as I can freaking throw them. You know what I mean? All right, before we get to that OKC and Cleveland game, let's go ahead and talk to you guys about sleeper picks and their awesome deal going on right now. So first and foremost, for this slate, you'll get a De'Aaron Fox 0.5 points line if you are a new customer, but you're also going to get a play 5, get 55 back right away. You're going to 11x what you're putting into an entry for new customers. So go ahead and check it out. I believe it's 11 $5 free plays, which is really great. You're going to have 11 free plays over there for $5. So if I said, hey, give me $5, I'll give you 55, you do that in a heartbeat, right? So go do it with Sleeper. If it's available in your state and you're not on it yet, you're absolutely missing out on one of the most fun player apps out there. Go check it out. That link will be down in the description as well as the pinned comment. Get this De'Aaron Fox square, but also get that play 5, get 55. Seems like an absolute no-brainer, doesn't it? Go ahead and check it out. Now let's get to the game that I think we all want to talk about here, right? The best game on the board. OKC taking on Cleveland. Now, I went to the injury report here just to make sure, we're looking good. And to my surprise, I guess to some degree, we're not. I mean, a big injury here that I want to call out is Isaiah Hartenstein is out, listed as out already for OKC. So yeah, that's obviously a blow there. I think he has a calf injury or something like that, like a strain in his calf, something like that, that he is going to be reevaluated in 1 week. So we literally have already a timetable of him being reevaluated. So he's definitely missing this game, which is obviously a massive blow against the Cavs here. We saw this matchup, what was it, a week-ish ago, right? Or 2 weeks, whatever it was. And the Cavs ultimately won that one. Now, in fairness, that one was in, obviously, Cleveland. So, advantage Cleveland there. This one's now in OKC, and that was a close game too. You look at that score, it was 129 to 122, and obviously the Thunder, 7 points they lose. They were 3-point dogs. They didn't cover, but that was super, super close up until the end when Cleveland pulled away. This is a Thunder team that is 16-2 so far at home this year. In terms of what they have against the number at home, they've covered in 71% of games. That sounds like a crazy number, right? But in fact, Cleveland's covered in 76.5% of the games on the road. So this is just going to be a slugfest. I'm pretty much going to reiterate what I said the last time. If you are calling someone an idiot for taking a certain side in this game that you don't agree with, you are most likely the idiot. You can make an argument for either one of these squads, just like I'm going to make the argument here for the home team. I think that the Thunder are playing really good basketball. Obviously, their only loss recently was that Cleveland game. They're now at home after a long road trip. They played 4 road games in a row. Cleveland now just getting into a road trip. They're going to play this game. So they played in Indiana, right? They did win. Then they play this game, then they play Minnesota. So they're right in the middle of their road trip. Not a long one, but a road trip nonetheless. Then I think they come home and then go on the road right again after that. But OKC at home, a little get back revenge spot here. Give me them minus the points. I think that they'll be able to score in the paint. I do worry about the rebounds though, now that Hartenstein's out. I mean, he's obviously one of the better rebounders there on the team, and this is already a rebounding kind of a team in OKC that doesn't rebound the ball all that well. So definitely some opportunities there to maybe take a peek at Jared Allen or Evan Mobley, someone that probably can benefit from having a less brute on the other end grabbing rebounds, right? And if you look at Cleveland over the last 10 games here, obviously Jared Allen and Evan Mobley leading the way in terms of rebound chances. Jared Allen averaging 19 rebound chances per game, Evan Mobley averaging 15.4. In that last game that they played, these guys, their rebound numbers looked pretty good, right? Evan Mobley had 10, Jared Allen had 11. No Hartenstein in there, who I think he had double-digit rebounds in that game. That's going to obviously make a lot more rebounds up for grabs. So maybe some player prop spots would be Evan Mobley points plus rebounds, Jared Allen, rebounds, I guess, in a sense. Some things to consider there. One thing I want to note too, and I think this is going to benefit Shea a lot, we'll jump into our dashboard here and we'll talk about how to get access to this dashboard in just a second. This is an OKC team that runs a ton of isolation, and obviously it's going to be a lot of Shea, right? This is not the best, as good of a defense as Cleveland is, right? Top 10 in the league. One, they're not the Thunder defense. The Thunder do have defensive advantage here, but look at them against the isolation. So they're getting run isolation on them very infrequently, right? Least amount of isolation run against them so far this year. But in terms of effective field goal percentage against, score percentage against, kind of just middle of the pack. They're going up against the number 7 team in terms of effective field goal percentage in isolation and the number 2 team in score percentage. So I think this could be a huge factor as well. So I think that Shea's going to come into this one, obviously guns blazing. That should not be any surprise to anybody, right? Like, he's going to do that every single game, especially off of a loss to this team. But they are giving up they're giving up tons of point to isolation, and obviously, that's a spot in which Shea loves to ISO, right? So in terms of that spot, in fact, if we can find, let's see if we can find, I guess, what he's done against Cleveland. So he had 31 in that last game. He shot 48% from the field, 1 of 6 from 3. He was 1 bucket away from hitting the over. Yeah, I still don't mind it. I mean, it's at 32.5. It's up there, but I think he's going to go ballistic. So those are 3 player props I'd consider: Shea, Mobley, and Jared Allen, some form of rebounds here, but I like OKC minus the 2.5 points. I know Hartenstein out is going to kill them, but I do think that, they're at home after a road trip. This seems like a good spot for them. Total's at 232. So last time it was a 129 to 122 game. I do think that OKC has to lock up here. They are down the big man, and I'm not acting like he's a great scorer or anything like that, right? But if they are just going to let Cleveland go down there and now score against who's going to probably Williams is going to fill in, right? And they already have no Chet Holmgren. We know that. I think this OKC team is going to have to play some serious perimeter defense, making it tough for Cleveland to score. And I guess vice versa as well, especially because OKC may be counting by twos getting to the rim. So I'm going to lean under in this one, 232. I know it might be crazy because we have two of the best offenses in the game, but let's not forget how good either one of these defenses are. I know we spent a lot of time on that game, but you know what? It's probably worth it. Now, in terms of getting that dashboard, guys, we'll go ahead and show you right now over on the Guy Boston Sports site, which is the same site in the pinned comment for the final plays. You head over to the members area and the NBA dashboard right here. You can download it. You can zoom in. You can just open it if you want in a new browser, and it has each and every game broken out via visuals to help you kind of consolidate your research time and give you all the important stats that you need to look at very, very quickly. We put tons of time and effort into building this thing, and this is we've already imported tomorrow at the time you guys watching this, today's slate. So this is good stuff here. But yeah, each and every game broken out. We have team trends in terms of, back-to-back numbers, rest advantage. We have that isolation numbers we looked at, player versus defense versus position, player projections, a lot of cool stuff in this dashboard. Again, that's over here on the members area. If you don't have access, you'll just see this, and then you're going to obviously have to go and sign up. It's going to say, hey, membership required. You view the membership levels, and you can go all sports member, $4.99 per month. You get our NFL dashboard as well, or just do by the sports here. You can do NFL or NBA. You can do it just by the sports as well. So go check that out, guys. That'll be on the Guy Boston Sports website there. But let's go ahead and move on to the next game here. All right, next one up, we got Portland taking on the Clippers here. So I'm a little thrown off by this line, I guess, or at least I was at the beginning. You have a really beaten up Portland team. Looks like Denny Avdija, can never pronounce his name, is going to miss this game. He's listed as doubtful. Klingon, Grant, Tybal, and Williams all listed as out, which has been something that we've known here. Only PJ Tucker on the injury report for the Clippers. So why do we see this Portland team as just 5.5-point dogs, right? Oh, well, the Clippers aren't playing the best of basketball here, I guess. That could be the reason why. But you look at Portland, are they? So I see this, and yeah, it's 6.5 in our graphic. I'm seeing a 5.5 now. So I feel like I'm missing something, but at 5.5, even if it's moving that direction, maybe we get it at 5. This seems like it has to be a Clipper spot, right? Or maybe I'm just getting the benefit of looking at it late in the night of prior to, because this is a Portland team, which we've been the Trailblazers whisperer this year, which I hate the fact that that's the team that we've been spot on with. But we always look at their points in the paint and the team that they're going up against in points in the paint defense. For the record, just to show you the dashboard again here, Portland number 2 in the last 10 games in terms of restricted area. Look at it down here. Points in the paint allowed. The Clippers on the season, 8th fewest, and just a 41.6% against in the paint there, 67 at the rim. So it's pretty decent defense down there. Why the heck are we seeing, a spot for Portland that just 5-point dogs, 5.5-point dogs? I don't know, but seems like it's not worth overthinking. Give me the Clips minus the 5. But again, this is all being recorded, literally 24 hours in advance, which we don't normally do. So you might hear me say this. Make sure to check the injury report, though. You might hear me say anything, and I like this, I like that. Things could change by now and then. So just trying to give you guys the heads up there. But yeah, if they have their normal starting lineup, which right now, Harden, Dunn, Powell, Leonard, and Zubac, sign me up for this one. The Clippers minus the points. Doesn't make all that much sense to me, but hey, it is what it is, right? In terms of what we have from a total, I don't mind the idea of a Portland team total under. In terms of what we can get there, let's see if we can get an updated line as of right now. Again, some of these lines are off, and we're struggling to even get some lines. Portland team total under, under 110.5 right now, that seems like it could be a spot as well. Even if they do keep this game close, it seems like it's a decent spot. On the season, they've hit the under in 59% of their games. Home games this year, they've definitely been a lot better. They've hit the over in 61%, so that's worth noting. Head-to-head, however, they've hit the under in 3 of their last 4 games, so that's good to note. Their last home game, which was last season against the Clippers, they did go over. That was their 1, so maybe it's a little risky. From a pace perspective, you have Portland, who's the slower team, actually, which is crazy because the Clippers don't strike you as a fast-paced team. I think I like the team total under, maybe a full game under as well. But yeah, Portland team total under could definitely be a look for me here. In terms of what we have from a player prop perspective, now we talked about Portland and, looking at them interior. They're actually not the worst interior defense, but where they struggle is on the perimeter. So I think Norm Powell, James Harden, those guys could have a good game here. We're still obviously waiting out their game tonight. And honestly, now that I say that out loud, maybe that's why this is a low line, right? Because they play here and then travel to Portland. So you're probably listening to me saying that, being like, duh, they're on a back-to-back. But I still don't know if that's, I still think the Clippers on a back-to-back here may be good enough. But, yeah, I guess maybe Kawhi wouldn't play, maybe James Harden. So keep an eye on the injury report. It's tough to record these, this early in advance. I don't know how some of the people do it, but overall, yeah, maybe it's because of the back-to-back. But still, at this line, if those guys play, don't mind the Clippers. But again, I'd look at Powell, maybe Harden, because they can score from above the break, which is where you can get this Portland team overall. All right, Sacramento, Houston. Now, Houston is still finishing up a game right now against the Nuggets, but it looks like they may be able to rest some of their guys. 6 to go in the third. They're up 82-65, I believe we have here. So, yeah, I mean, they're winning by nearly 30 points. Maybe able to get some guys some rest before the back-to-back. Sacramento and Houston have a lot of similarities in terms of I guess, their interior defense, which I think is going to be the strong suit for both teams here. The one problem is that, well, Houston likes to score in the paint. That's where Sacramento is. One hot problem for Houston, I guess. Houston likes to score in the paint. Sacramento's very good at stopping that. Houston isn't the best three-point shooting team, which is where you get Sacramento. The problem is Sacramento takes a ton of threes. They're not exactly the best three team, but Houston also isn't all that bad at defending the three. Now, I will say, as of late, they've been a little bit worse. So on the season, they're the third best team in terms of perimeter defense, points from three allowed per game, right? But last 3 games, it's dipped a little bit. That is now they're the 11th team over the last 3. So I guess that's something that calls for a little bit of concern, right? And you throw in the fact that we're sitting here and it's like, okay, well, now let's look at the percentages. This is a Houston team that is allowing a ton of in terms of successful shots from 3, 39.1% from above the break. That's a tough one to say. It shouldn't be, but it is for me. So maybe Sacramento has some luck here. They also run the 10th most isolation plays and score at the 10th highest rate. This is a pretty bad Houston isolation defense, so I think there may be a path to sneak in a Sacramento look here. Now, this Houston team is phenomenal. They're really good, but let's look at the Sacramento recent games, right? In their last 8 games, they're 7-1. They're, I believe, 5-3 against the number. Last time they played this Houston team, they won 121-111. Oh, but that was in Sacramento. Well, look at where this game is, right? Now, this Houston team travels well, but it is worth noting that Sacramento is obviously at home. So I think I can get to a Sacramento number here with Houston on a back-to-back, but this is, bar none, the second best game on the slate. I would argue this, and then it's Detroit, but obviously that Cleveland OKC number 1. So if you're on the Houston side and you kind of make the argument I just made for the Clippers, like, who cares about the back-to-back, especially when they might rest some of their guys, I do understand it, but I think the fact that Sacramento may actually have some success from 3, which they've been shooting a lot of threes, 6th most above the break threes over the last 10 games. If they have success from there, they can score on this Houston team. And we've already seen them, even before they were playing really good basketball, beat this Houston team substantially, right? They were, I think, favored in that game, but they won the game by 9. Give me Sacramento. In terms of what we have from a total, if Sacramento's going to win this one, I kind of think they push the pace, and we've seen Houston start to up their tempo a little bit, like their last 3 games here, last 4 games actually, 119, 135, 119, 120. They'll play fast. I would say, well, they played the Lakers and Washington, 2-man defenses, but then they played Memphis. Memphis isn't all that bad of a defense, and they still scored 119 and 120 in back-to-back games against them. So I'm going to lean slightly towards the over 227.5 here in this one. From a player prop perspective, I've already kind of, tipped my hand at the type of players that I'd look at. I'd take a peek at anyone that can shoot the ball from 3. So 3 names come to mind: Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox, Keegan Murray in terms of quantity. Now, I think Malik Monk is probable, so if he doesn't play, then there'll just be more shots to go around. But I do think that he's going to play in this one. He's listed as probable. So if he plays, I really don't mind the idea of him getting some shots up. We're still waiting on lines in this one. But if I had to guess, 2 2.5, something like that for him. Really don't mind it. Same De'Aaron Fox. Keegan Murray, I wouldn't go that high on, but I still think that Keegan Murray may get some drive and kick opportunities, and he shoots a decent amount of threes from the corner, especially when he's looking for, right? I think he's like number 3 on this team in corner threes per game over the last 10. If this is a good Houston interior defense, Sacramento gets in there, drives, they collapse, boom, Keegan Murray could be there for a catch and shoot type of spot. So that's where we would also look there. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. We got to get to sleep because we got to get up super early for our flight here. But thank you guys very much for watching. Apologize for not maybe having as much information as normal, but kind of comes with the territory when we are, doing this a night prior to. A lot of the time that we would spend doing additional research, both at night and in the morning, is now X'd because we don't have those hours, right? So hopefully you guys can understand that, at least for just a video. We'll still get the videos out, but we'll be traveling, so probably some hybrid version of the videos where they're a little bit shorter and we go through things a little bit quicker. But nonetheless, we'll still stick to the grind here on vacation like we always do. Vacation never stops, you know what I mean? But that's all I got for you guys. If you did enjoy this one, go ahead and comment. I guess 26. You probably made it around 26 minutes into this video. Comment 26. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.